Hello, I'm Tess from the Arty Crafty place and I'm going to give you a block printing demo. I'm going to show you how easy it is to hand print your own fabric and paper. First, let's talk about the equipment you're going to need when you're block printing. So one thing that's really important when you're block printing is to always have a soft surface underneath you. Now this is really important because when you're using a wooden printing block, due to the nature of them being hand carved, they're not always totally flat. So when you print, you want to be able to wiggle the block. So move it side to side, up and down. And you can't do that if you're printing straight onto a table. So we sell foam printing mats. You could also use a yoga mat or a camping mat, just something that's a soft surface. You're then going to need a paint tray, so anything to put paint on will work well. You're going to use sponges to apply your paint. You're going to need some practice fabric or paper, so that's just some plain scrap fabric or paper that you can use to practice on. And then we've got a dry piece of fabric here that we use as a rag, and this is what you use to clean the blocks in between applying different colours. Today I'm going to be printing onto a piece of fabric, so I'm going to be using a fabric paint. Now this is our own textile paint. It comes in a huge variety of colours and works really well. So you use this to print onto light fabrics, and once you've printed and the fabric paint has dried, you then heat set it with an iron, and that makes the paint permanent and washable. So I'm going to give you a couple of practice prints and show you how easy it is. So what you want to do is dip your sponge in the paint, and you always tap off the excess. You never want to just dip your sponge in the paint and then go straight onto your block, because you'll have a big blob on there and that will get in the detail and cause you a splodge. So always tap off the excess. So first let's start with the duck egg blue. So you're going to hold your printing block flat. You're going to lightly tap the paint all over the block. You want to make sure you're not wiping or squeezing the paint into the design, because that's just going to give you a splodge. So just lightly tapping all over. Then you're going to turn your block upside down and you're going to give it a wiggle. So I use a flat hand. You don't want to indent it into the mat. You just want to give it even pressure all over, up and down, side to side, and then up. And there we go. You have a gorgeous print. Now, if you want to go again with the same colour, always make sure you add more paint each time. Otherwise, you're going to get a really faint print if you just go again. So you can see nothing's even come out there. So always apply more paint each time. If you want to change the colour, you use your dry cloth and you just wipe the paint off the surface, give it a really good rub, get all that previous paint off, and then you can go again with your next colour. So dipping your sponge in the paint, tapping off the excess, and then lightly tapping all over. You're going to get a really nice coverage of paint this way. And then we're going to turn this upside down and give it a wiggle. So again, side, side, up and down, making sure we're not indenting it into the mat, and then up. And there we go, we've got two really beautiful prints. So I'm going to clean this off and I'm going to show you quickly how to do two colour printing. And when we're doing two colour printing, we tend to use sponge dabbers. Now these are really good because they're circular. You can be really precise with where you put the paint, and they come in different sizes. So for example, on this bird, I'm going to paint the body and the legs blue, and I'm going to do the tail pink. So I'm going to use my sponge dabbers in the same way as I did my sponges. And I'm just going to make sure I'm getting enough paint on, so always use the sponge flat, so you're getting a nice coverage of paint. And then I'm going to do the same with the blue. And where you're trying to be really precise, just always make sure you're getting enough paint on. And then you're going to turn the block upside down, give it a wiggle, and up. And when you're finished with your printing block, always make sure you clean the paint off before leaving it till later or going again with your next colour. Once you've finished printing with your blocks, you can wash them under hot soapy water at the end of the day. Just get all the paint out the detail, and this will keep them nice and new. So hopefully that's shown you the basics of block printing and shown you just how easy it is to hand print your own fabric. This is exactly the same techniques you need to use when you're block printing onto paper. You can see a range of other how-to videos on our YouTube channel, so please feel free to have a watch and learn more about block printing. Thanks very much for watching.